Okay, have you ever tried to do an activity with a child or a baby and all you get is this?
Come on, John. Come on. Hey. Hey.
Yep, that's the crying child. I have so many parents that ask me, what do I do whenever I try to do an activity with my child or my baby? They cry, they scream bloody murder, what do I do? Well, you know, you learn best when you're happy and you're having a good time. So, where the child might be getting a great workout because they're screaming bloody murder, and that's, you know, and trying to get away. That's a workout. They might not be getting the skills that you were really wanting them to do. So I do think it's important to work on trying to have your child happy when you play and do their work with them. The first thing you want to think about is the time of day. In a baby particularly, there are times of day when they're napping, and there are times of day when they're eating, and there are times of day that they're more likely to be happy. So you're going to want to pick the times of day that they're more likely to be happy to be able to try your exercise that you're wanting to do. Number two is think about your attitude. If you're thinking this is the most miserable thing you've ever done, your baby knows that. So you need to check your attitude at the door. You need to be trying to have the best time ever so that your child can read those signals. Your baby's savvy, and they know if you hate doing this, they're going to hate it too. I think that one of the things that you can do is figure out which toys your child likes the most and set them aside. They don't get to play with them except when you're doing therapy. I think one of the things that the benefits I have in my treatment room is I have a bunch of toys that they don't get access to all the time. So having that toy that they adore set aside does help to be able to have something they can play with that they really like. I think sometimes what you need to do is do the activity yourself. I think if you've watched any of my videos, often I will demonstrate the activity first. You need to look like you're having a blast. If you can have a sibling do it and look like they're having a blast, if your spouse can do it or your partner can do it and they look like they're having a blast, then your child is much more likely to go, oh, I think I want to do that too. Why can't I play? I want to play. Or, you know, sometimes if a sibling just helps entertain, that can make a big difference. I will often use the child's favorite music playing in the background. Or calming music. If the kid is more likely to be upset, I'll put calming music on. Or if the kid is under-aroused and too sleepy, I'll put upbeat music. So I really use music to help modify the child's mood. I also think about previous thing you're doing. So, you know, if the child is playing in the park and you say it's time to go home and do homework, they're going to go, I don't want to go home and do homework. I'm playing in the park. So think about what you were doing before. So if they're bored silly and you want to play with them and do their work, then they're probably more likely to think what you're doing is going to be fun, as opposed to if they're doing something awesome and you have to take them away from that. I find that if I can find a way to make the activity more dynamic, such as on a swing or on a big ball, that often kids will think that's more fun than if they're doing it in the floor. Another big one is sometimes in certain positions, kids have trouble breathing. So this is back to the babies. If they're on their stomach, for some reason they might have more difficulty breathing on their stomach. Breathing always wins. So if a kid can't breathe well in the position you're putting them in, they're going to scream, they're going to yell, they're going to holler, they're going to try to get out of it. So make sure your child is breathing well. Sometimes the kid's screaming because the activity is way too hard. That's one of the things that a physical therapist should be really good at, is trying to find the right increment of just right challenge. A challenge that is too easy is boring. A challenge that is too hard, it makes you so frustrated. So you got to find the just right challenge that's not too hard, not too easy. I think the other thing is something might be fun 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but if you try to get 100 reps, then forget it. I am not doing 100 reps of sit-ups. I'll do 10, but I won't do 100. Well, sometimes. But anyway, you know what I mean. Think about how many times you're asking the child to do it. I also think about the difference between weightlifting and aerobics. So an activity that is hard, if you expect a couple of reps, then you're not going to have an upset child. But if you expect a bunch of reps and it is like weightlifting, really hard work, then you're going to have an upset child. So, but if it's aerobic kind of thing, slightly challenging, then you can expect to be able to do that for a longer period of time. I think the other thing that's really critical is that you want to make sure that 80% of what you say to your child is positive. A lot of negative input, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. Who wants to hear that? You want to make sure that you're telling your kid how great they are, what a good job they're doing. And if you have to just pick anything that you can tell them, I like your shirt today. You have a great haircut. I love those glasses on you. Pick something, anything you can think of. Tell them good things. The other thing is sometimes, I can take a whole chorus of people telling me how great I am. I love that. The more people, the better. But a whole bunch of people telling me how bad I'm doing is really disconcerting. So when it comes to having to say things that are not so great, just keep it to one person doing the talking, because otherwise you can really feel like you're being ganged up on. These are kind of the things I think of when I'm trying to make sure that a kid is enjoying the activity I'm doing, other than just making sure I'm incorporating their favorite toys and the things that they like. How to keep them happy in physical therapy or doing the home program. I hope these ideas are helpful for you, because I want your children to be enjoying these activities that they do at home. If you can incorporate into your day, certainly that's going to make it better. I hope this helps, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. If you liked this video and would like to be notified by email when the next video comes out, click the subscribe button here and click the golden bell icon and ensure notifications are enabled on your account.